Hey, welcome to another lesson of Breakthrough Growth. 4 key questions to accelerate the time to scale. We're going to start with a bonus question, but this is the most important one because it's going to help us if we might face a discontinuity in the adoption of our technology. And the more discontinuous is our technology, the more resources we will need to invest to create this new market category and push people to adopt our technology. So, is your innovation continuous or discontinuous? Let's have a look at this slide with examples. The more on the left we are, the more continuous is the innovation. And the more on the right we are, the more discontinuous is the innovation. So the more left are a combination of existing technologies in existing markets. So if you are creating an existing technology in an existing market, you are providing the market with a continuous innovation. Like, for example, Pipedrive. Pipedrive is a CRM tool. They launched this tool with UX improvements and with a method improvement, but the CRM market was already there, was already in the mainstream where they launched it. So it was yet another, let's say, CRM tool. And the technology was the same and the market was already existing and in the mainstream. So for people, it's easy to understand how to adopt this technology, Pipedrive. Then if we move a little bit to the right, a little bit more discontinuous is when we introduce an existing technology in a new market. So for example, ConvertKit. ConvertKit was an existing technology because they were using a technology that is email marketing automation. So that was an already crowded market with ConvertKit, with, for example, MailChimp and ActiveCampaign and all these kind of tools. But the market in reality was they were focusing in a new segment. So they were creating a new market focusing just on makers and creators. So they were creating a new market, but with an existing technology. So far, there were no this creator economy, there were no this maker and the passion economy, but then they saw this opportunity and they think by themselves, hey, let's focus on building a product to convince these guys in this very specific segment of the creator economy. So they created this new market, but with an existing technology, which was the mail automation tools or the newsletter. Let's say it's more a newsletter tool than an automation tool. Then if we move to the right, we are introducing new technologies in existing markets. Here is where discontinuity starts, when we introduce new technologies, because when we introduce new technologies, that's a little bit harder to understand for people, and then probably it causes some disruption in the operations, in their day-to-day life, and causes pains. And, introducing a new technology is when we start having discontinuity. So a combination of new technology within an existing market is a slightly discontinuous innovation. For example, Stripe. Stripe was introduced in the market when there was already a market using online payment, or let's say payment authorization tools or payment platform tools. There were Authorize.net, there were PayPal, there were all the platforms. Every different bank, they had their platforms, remember, before Stripe. So e-commerce tools, they were all using their own bank. So suddenly Stripe builds a new technology, and then they straightforward all the process, and then they reduce the fees and all of this. So they were introducing a new technology, but in an already existing market. So that generates a little bit of discontinuity. And then if we move a little bit more to the right, is the top discontinuous innovation is when we introduce both new technology and we're creating a new market. And for example, here, Copy AI is a good example because they are creating a new market. They are introducing an AI or artificial intelligence tool to generate marketing copy. They generate messaging copy, for example, blog posts, the copy for the advertising, the copy for web pages through artificial intelligence. So that market, these kind of tools, they were non-existing in the market. There was no market for that. And that's a new technology. So they will need a little bit more of resources to create and make people trust them and cross to the mainstream and scale real big. So, and then we need to understand that the more on the right and the more discontinuous the innovation, the higher the risk perception, the higher the cost of adoption, and the more resources we will need to grow at the scale. Then why? Because if we remember the profile of a market category with the technology adoption life cycle, there might be an adoption chasm. So the more discontinuous is our innovation, the bigger would be the adoption chasm. And the more continuous is an innovation, continuous or discontinuous means continuous adoption or discontinuous adoption. If there is continuous adoption, the more on the left, that means that there is no chasm here. So we need to keep focusing and building our low risk offering. We're going to talk about that. But the resources we will need are way less than if we need to cross the chasm. And we can conquer the mainstream without focusing that much in a segment if there is no chasm. But the more on the right, the more we need to focus on one specific segment. Second question, what specific problem is your product technology solving better than others? And the answer for this, remember, is focus on psychographic analysis. So go research, understand the situations, the motivations, and the results outcomes that your target customer is expecting. Once you have the main problem statement, then let's think about the transformation we are providing to the target customer. What is the actual state and what transformation do we provide to a desired state with our product? That all of that together is the problem we're solving. And that's really important to target the mainstream. The third question is, what is the underserved segment with an urgent problem that will enable us to have a market leadership positioning? Remember, the key is the market leadership positioning to reduce the risk perception and having these market messages, which are the kind of positioning that we need to conquer the mainstream and scale past the early adopters. And for that, we will use the segment scoring. Remember, in the last lesson, we were talking about the segment scoring to pick the right segment to go after and cross to the mainstream past the early adopters. And the fourth question is, once we have that segment, we need to build our low risk offering. The offering is the key of everything. The offering and the positioning and the messaging, that combination of three things all together is the key of everything. Because if we build the channels, if we do promotion, we can have the best storytelling in the world. But then if we don't have the crafted offering and a good messaging and positioning, we are not going to sell anything. So what is the low risk offering? We need to convince that segment, because remember, to scale, we shouldn't focus on core features anymore. To scale past the early adopters, we need to build a low risk offering and build things around the core features of our product. And remember the three sets of attributes. First set of attributes are end user harmony attributes. That means make your product easy to adopt and reduce disruption and pains for your customer to adopt it. Make it easy for them. Reduce that discontinuity that there might exist to adopt your product. The second set of attributes is the market category membership. It's like saying to the customers, hey, we have experience doing this and we know what we are talking about, because we have sponsorships and partnerships in this market category. We have another complementary products in this market category. We are the standard in this market category. We are certified. We have patents. And the third set of attributes are the safety in numbers. Attributes that make people think that they are safe because other lookalike people or business have bought from us, have bought our products, have tried our product, they are customers. So it's like It's like making them feel that somebody they know tried our product, so they feel safe if they feel together with people that they know. So it's the safety number attributes. That's what we need to build with our low risk recipe by Warren Scherzinger. And then remember, we need to communicate and position our product and our offering with the correct messages. And now it's all about market messages. We transition from product messages to market messages. That's it for today. Thank you so much, and see you in the next and last lesson of Breakthrough Growth course.